It's the anniversary of January 6th, 2021, and if you think the primary lesson of that day is the buffalo helmet guy walking around with an American flag inside the Senate building, you'd be wrong. Let's take a look at how Washington, D.C. wrapped up a year of solid Democratic Party rule. This is from the local NBC affiliate in Washington, D.C., NBC4. D.C. Suburbs end 2021 with higher homicide counts by Tom Lynch. A total of 416 people, mostly men in their 20s, died at homicides in the D.C. area in 2021. Why is it that if you go to NBCnews.com, there's not one word about the 416 young black males killed in Washington, D.C. in 2021? Because it doesn't serve the political agenda. Let's see if MSNBC, the other national news service of NBC, has anything to say about the 416 dead. How We Can Make Sure January 6th Never Happens Again by Frank Fregliosi. Why Merrick Garland's attitude about January 6th is deeply troubling. Time to look past the mob and punish the liars who pushed them to the Capitol, says Morning Joe. Why isn't Morning Joe talking about these dead black men? I guess the reason is it doesn't serve the narrative of the Democratic Party. Let's read some more. In D.C., 227 people were homicide victims as of Friday morning, up from 198 people killed last year. Prince George's County had 133 people killed, up from 99 people last year. Fairfax County's jumped from 15 to 21 people, and Montgomery's counties jumped from 19 to 35 people. Why does none of these deaths matter to the Democratic Party? Because it doesn't further the Democrat narrative that we narrowly averted the end of democracy on January 6th. Do they care about any of these dead black people? I have to wonder. Look at this. This was the Christmas news. Again, a local news channel. Local news story. WTOP News. Man dead after Christmas Eve shooting in Northeast D.C. A 24-year-old man is dead after a shooting Friday evening in Northeast D.C. as of December 26, 2021. This particular story gives you a clue as to what's going on. The news media determines what is a national news story based on the political narrative they wish to sculpt, frame, and mold. MSNBC, NBC's friends like CBS News, ABC News, they don't want to tell you about this man dead after Christmas Eve shooting in Washington, D.C. because it doesn't further the narrative of destroying President Donald Trump. In fact, let's take a look at some of the events that happened before January 6, 2021. Let's look at 2020 and how Democrats instigated, cheered on, and permitted violent insurrection in Washington, D.C. when it fit their purposes in 2020. Here, the mayor of Washington, D.C. used taxpayer funds to paint Black Lives Matter on the road leading up to the White House in 2020. When the Republicans held their convention in Washington, D.C., the Democrat mayor ordered the police to not have extra patrols around the White House so that Republican officials, senators, congressmen, and their defenseless families were brutally attacked by the Democrat mob led by Antifa and BLM. The only reason that Senator Rand Paul and his wife were not brutally put in the hospital or killed was that some bicycle police officers were patrolling. Bicycle police officers were just randomly patrolling past the White House, and they saved the lives of Senator Rand Paul from Democrat insurrectionists. That's right. Democrat insurrectionists were given full legal sanction by the Washington, D.C. government in 2020 because it's okay if Republicans are assaulted and killed. It's okay if defenseless guests of the Republican National Convention were assaulted and killed, because the Democrat mayor wanted that to happen. Let's look further. In the most bizarre incident of 2020, and that's saying a lot, Antifa BLM mobs attempted to storm the White House when the National Guard prevented this insurrection by Democrat mobs in 2020 of storming the White House and assaulting or killing President Donald Trump. The mob turned down the street and burned a church that had nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Left a charred changing table and melted children's toys.
This is the Democratic Party of 2020. Insurrection.
A total loss. They defaced this church.
Insurrection legalized and approved by the Democratic Party of the United States of America. Insurrection serving the purposes of the Democratic Party in 2020. Now, what did the Buffalo helmet guy burn down? Nothing. Why was this considered good behavior by Democrat mobs conducting insurrection against the White House? Why was this considered an opportunity to attack President Donald Trump? The news media turned an attack by a Democrat mob on a defenseless church into an opportunity to attack President Donald Trump for showing up the next morning and showing his support that churches not be burned by Democrat mobs. For this, we were told Trump was the villain of the entire story. Who thinks that way? Democrats do, because any event in America's political history can be used to serve the interests of the Democratic Party, and that means turning a church burned by Democrats into an opportunity to somehow attack President Trump for using the church and the Bible as a prop. There's no prop here. The prop was Democrats conducted insurrection and burned a church. So when you see the Democrat Party talking long and loud about January 6th, just remember they didn't give a damn about a single African American killed in Washington, D.C. through all of 2021. The lesson of January 6th is this: the Democrat news media and the Democratic Party will use anything to further their power, and they don't care what gets destroyed or who gets killed in the process. Thank you.